So, I think you've got something else to tell us now.
Yes. Thankfully, my baby is finally here. Elliot Adam. And yeah, I'm a mum now. After a long time of waiting, he was 8 days past his due date, and he decided to come on my first wedding anniversary.
Which is amazing, isn't it? It's incredible. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
He's gorgeous. I held him. Oh, I've just held him, so it's amazing. He's absolutely beautiful. So, labour.
Let's talk labour.
Let's talk labour.
Okay, so I had an induction scheduled. Really didn't want to be induced, but I thought, you know, if it comes to it and I go too far over, I have no choice. Luckily, it was on a Saturday night. I was in bed with my husband.
He's very good, waiting for Daddy to be home.
Yeah, and we just finished watching a movie, and I had my first contraction. And I knew instantly it was a contraction. It didn't feel too bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I've had a contraction. Yeah, it was okay. Famous last words.
So you had the what they called those Braxtons, aren't they? The
Braxton hits beforehand.
So you had them before,
yeah,
so you kind of knew the difference.
The tightenings, yeah. I definitely knew the difference. But yeah, the first few contractions I had weren't too bad. And I thought, wow, if this is what it's like, then I'm going to be fine.
Bring it on.
But they did get worse and worse. So I was up all night having contractions. They were sometimes 8 minutes apart, sometimes 6 minutes apart. Got down to 3 minutes apart, but they were still irregular.
And what were you doing in that time then?
In that time, I was bouncing up and down on my exercise ball, walking up and down. I had several baths, which did help. But when you're in labour, you know, you're just in labour. Yeah. I mean, you can try anything, but nothing really takes away the pain.
Yeah.
But that was okay, because I knew that the contractions were going to be painful. So yes, got to 6 in the morning, and I wanted to go to hospital. I knew that they wouldn't admit me because they want you to have 3 contractions every 10 minutes, and I wasn't at that stage yet. But I just thought, you know, this has been all night, it's been relentless. I want to know how dilated I am. I just want to know what's going on.
Because you'd had an internal, and they said you were 2 centimetres, was it?
Well, it was only 1 centimetre,
1 centimetre
at my internal exam, which was I think 4 days prior.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know, I want to go to hospital, I want to know what's going on. So we went to hospital, and on the way to hospital, because the adrenaline kicked in, my contractions slowed down. Because when you're relaxed and you've got that oxytocin going, the contractions speed up. So I was like, oh, this is great, you know, I'm enjoying the break. But obviously when I got there and they sort of assessed me, they were like, oh, your contractions, you're not having many contractions. But anyway, they examined me. I was only 2 centimetres dilated, which is, you know, a bit disheartening. And they sent me home. They're like, try and rest, try and get some sleep.
Like you can rest, like you can sleep.
Not at all.
And you can't eat or anything because you don't want to eat.
No, I mean, I was forcing myself to eat, to be fair.
Just
just
a
little,
energy.
like an apple here and there, because I knew that I had to keep my energy up. And I was staying hydrated as well, and that I think really helped.
Important.
But anyway, got to about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was saying to my husband, we need to go back into hospital again. He was talking about maybe me getting some pethidine, which I really didn't want to do.
No. But it's everyone's choice, isn't it?
Of course, it's a personal choice, but I really didn't want to do it. But my husband was just so concerned that I was so tired, I'd had no sleep. So he thought maybe I can get some rest with the pethidine. But anyway, went back in, and I was 5 centimetres dilated. So they admitted me. They admitted me to one of their lovely birthing suites. So it had a big bath in it, had a bed, beautiful picture of flowers on the wall. It was lovely. And they ran the bath for me. I was using the exercise ball in there. Got in the bath intending to have a water birth. And at this point I'd been in labour for 17 hours, and I was offered some gas and air, which I took, which helped. Anyway, I got in the bath, and I was in there for the maximum amount of time that you're allowed to be in the bath, and they said, okay, let's get you out, give your body a break. And
why is there a maximum? I can't remember that now. That
a maximum amount of time you're allowed to be in the water. I guess I don't know why. I know they wanted to give me an exam to see how things were progressing, which they did. So they got me out and lay me down on the mat. And they were like, oh, you'll probably be about 8 centimetres by now. And I was like, okay. Anyway, I lay down on this mat on my back, and they looked at me and they said, oh, actually, you're 10. You're fully dilated, and the baby's head is coming out right now. And I said, can't I get back in the bath? Can't I get up and get on all fours? And they said no. You can't, unfortunately. He's coming now. So after like three different attempts to push him out, he came out in one.
But you managed it really well. You managed it so calmly, because labour is different for everyone. And you know, I think what we both have said now, talking about it before, we were just having a little discussion, it doesn't matter, does it, if you have an epidural,
no, not at all.
if you do pethidine, or if you have to have a C-section. What matters is the baby's healthy. But you have to do it whatever way you can. So I was asking you earlier, because when I was in labour, I didn't like to be touched by my husband. What were you like on the response of someone massaging you and touching you? And
so I just wanted to deal with it on my own. That's how I am when I have migraines. I just want to be on my own. My husband Chris, he was amazing. He was my personal slave that day. If we brought a big cool bag of food and drinks, so like coconut water, pineapple, sort of sugary drinks in. Good. And I'd just say to him, coconut water, pineapple juice, and he'd go and get them for me. So he was really amazing, and he was great at supporting me, but he wasn't too close to interfering. And that was how I wanted it.
Because I've always said it's how you are when you're ill. If you're like, please smother me, then you'll want that. If you don't like it, then stick to the same. Because it is about your kind of journey and what you're doing, and I think it's really good to be hydrated. So I love the coconut water and everything. Brilliant. So did they give you tea and toast and stuff?
Of course they did. I would have felt a bit cheated if they hadn't given me tea and toast.
That's all you get, tea and toast.
Yeah, they gave me tea and toast afterwards.
Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. Did you cry after you pushed out? Did you shake, or emotions or anything?
I didn't cry. I remember breathing extremely quickly, because also when he came out in one. He just sort of slid out, which was great. But at the same time, I kind of wasn't prepared.
You weren't ready for it.
I thought it would take a longer time for him to come out. So that he came out, and then all of a sudden, I've got him on my chest, which was lovely. But I wasn't ready for it. So I was kind of going, and they were saying, just breathe. You've done it. Calm down.
Because apparently some people cry. Because obviously I had 3. I did cry on some of them, and then some of them I got the shakes because it was so fast. Because again, Art and Fee were really fast. I was
more like that, I'd say.
And you're like this. So it's interesting, but you do need the toast and tea or coffee just to give you that energy. So then tell me how you felt once it's all done and they've weighed Elliot and he's got his clothes on. What's going through your mind?
Well, to be honest, it didn't really all sink in until the next day, I would say, because I was so exhausted from my labour, which was 21 hours in total.
How did you feel when Chris had to go and you're left on your own?
So he left at 11 p.m. and I had my own room, which was great. So it was literally just me and the baby in this room, and I knew I had all the midwives out there, if I needed anything. But it felt very surreal. And I felt a little nervous, but I was like, okay, I can do this. I've got all the support I need if I need it. And it was just nice. It was nice to have that private space, actually. Because I think that was the thing I remember is that, because with me it was about the same time, 11 o'clock, and when your partner goes and you're on your own and you look at this little baby and you think, I can't believe I just did that. It was surreal. It was surreal. But also another thing I wanted to say, which I think is really important, is that I didn't feel the really strong bond of love until that next day.
Well, you've just gone through a hell of a lot.
And I know a lot of women say, oh, as soon as I had that skin to skin, I feel this rush of love. But I think it's really important to say that it's not like that for everyone. Some women take weeks, maybe even months to bond with their baby. And that is okay. That is okay if you're one of those people. So for me, it was a day. Because we've got
so many emotions flying through us, and it's physically, it's like doing a marathon. It's absolutely draining. It's exhausting. So I think, but that's a really good point, I think, Roz, is that it isn't a textbook. It's not a textbook thing. It's how you feel, and don't be afraid to have those feelings or thoughts, because it's when you think you should be like everyone else that I think that's when people get a bit of postnatal depression. Because they start thinking, why didn't I feel like that? Because when I've read the books, it says this, and it's true. So that's a really good point. So what is great is that you've done so well and you look amazing.
Thank you.
But I do think we do need to explore breastfeeding and sleep deprivation.
Absolutely.
So we're going to do some, you know, proper intense kind of videos, but just to touch on it, let's talk about breastfeeding first. How did that go?
Okay, so I breastfed, well, I should say Elliot breastfed pretty much immediately after he was born, and he had no problem latching on and sucking, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And also I had a lot of colostrum, and then later on milk came in, so I was really lucky in that sense. But I did find it very painful, and there's a bit of a misconception, I'd say, that breastfeeding, if it's done right, shouldn't be uncomfortable, shouldn't be painful, and yet everyone I've spoken to says, oh god, the first few weeks were really painful. I had really cracked nipples, and that's why you've got nipple cream out there, let's be honest. So I did struggle with it a bit. I am still breastfeeding now, and I intend to for the months to come, but I've also been expressing a bit as well, which is good because it gives me a chance to heal, and also my husband and rest, and also my husband can then feed the baby with the expressed milk, and that's nice for him.
And we did touch on this before when you were pregnant. Fennel, the oil, if you go to Holland & Barrett and get it and just put it in water, it really increases your milk supply, not blood supply, milk supply. So yeah, sleep deprivation.
So I knew that was coming. Nothing can prepare you for how you really feel when you've got this baby and it's keeping you up every 2 hours waking to feed. But towards the end of my pregnancy, I was waking up multiple times in the night anyway, just either from being uncomfortable or needing the loo. So I think that actually did help to prepare me a little bit.
And I think that's why the body does that. Perversely, it's to get you used to it. But it does affect you in really weird ways. You know, how you function, temper, kind of emotions, and then you wonder why women and men might get postnatal depression, and it's the baby blues. You're so high, aren't you, and you come down. We take it for granted having 6 hours sleep, 8 hours sleep, but actually when you're being woken up, especially when you're in deep sleep, well, actually I don't think you'll ever have a deep sleep again now.
No.
I don't think you ever do go back to normal, but it affects you. So, and what we were sort of discussing earlier is just staying calm and trying to stay positive, you know, trying not to let it get to you too much, or, you know, snapping at your other half. You know, just try and stay positive, because, you know, you can do this and you will do this, and it's all worth it. And it is a team thing, isn't it?
It's a team effort.
You work it together, and it's being able to say, and I think that's why your point was great, you can't expect everyone to have the same emotions, the same feelings, and actually we are all unique, so sometimes it doesn't go as planned, but just kind of embrace it and go, okay, I didn't feel like that, and like you were saying about the bonding, let it happen in your own way, but call on help. So I'm going to babysit, so you can go out. My girls want to babysit. We're all desperate to babysit. So I think that the lesson is definitely, we'll explore it further with the breastfeeding, sleep deprivation, pads you want to talk about.
Yes, I want to do a little review on different breast pads. They're
gorgeous, aren't they? Bleeding, did you bleed a lot after?
I mean, I think it was a normal amount, but yes, I did.
And you had to be stitched as well.
I did. He was, Elliot was 8 pounds, so good, you know, really good size, but when you've got a small frame, I think it was inevitable, really. But you know, healing fine.
Lavender baths.
Yes.
And what was the other one you said?
I'm pretty sure it was witch hazel. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm pretty sure witch hazel is the other one that they recommend.
So do both. I would just put it in the bath, and I just sat in the bath to heal all the time. But you look incredible, and I'm so proud of you, and he's beautiful. And so exciting. Thank you for watching.
And subscribe.